Awesome. So we're live.
Yay!
Welcome, Mimy.
Hi!
Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight in this edition of The Leader in Her. And I just want to say thank you to everyone who's joining us. Thank you for taking the time to meet us here. And so before we start, please, go ahead and share this live so that others can join in and listen on tonight's amazing talk that we're going to be having. And I'm just so excited to have Mimy because I know that we can all learn from each other, and I know that she has a word of encouragement for any of you guys that are out there listening, and just maybe you have a journey that's similar to hers, or maybe it's something else that you're working on that it's just to hear or to be able to hear and partake in her story can obviously help us all. So thank you guys all for joining. Like I said, go ahead and share this live so that we'll get started. So welcome, Mimy.
Hi, I'm so excited. Thank you, Lulu.
I know. Thank you so much for joining me.
Yes, thank you for letting me be a part. I know that you had already asked me, and we had to make some changes on the dates. I, for some reason, thought it was another date, and but we managed to make it work, and we figured out a time for me to be here tonight. So yes, it was good. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I know that you're busy. You have kids. Your hubby, your job, and everything else that consumes us women.
Yes.
So I'm so glad that you made the time to come, and I'm so excited. And so you have an album. So what? Let's jump in. So like I was telling them, that you're a mom. You're a worship pastor with your husband. So tell me a little bit about yourself, or tell everybody what you do. A little bit about you.
Okay. So first of all, thank you for the people that are going to be joining us tonight. Thank you for taking some time to be a part of this live. And if you don't know who I am, well, first off, my first name is Mirna, but the majority of the people that know me here in Texas know me as Mimy. And I do serve alongside with my husband at Palabra de Vida, which is our church that is located in Dallas. In the
Shout out, Palabra de Vida.
Palabra de Vida, yes. Pastores Juve y Lucy Estrada.
Awesome.
We have been there it's going to be 8 years. And we serve there, my husband and I, as the worship pastors at our local church. But like Lulu just said, I am also a mom of 2. Awesome. Currently still working a full-time job and also doing ministry in music. Lulu just mentioned that I did just now released not now, but back in May this year, released my album titled Revivir. And it's very exciting because it is the album within itself. It is really the backstory of the last 4 years in our home. With my marriage, with my kids, personal experiences that I've experienced with God, and just personal struggles that I've encountered, all wrapped up in lyrics and a storyline behind this album. But I'm originally from California.
Awesome. Yes. Love my Cali people.
Yes. Originally from California, San Diego, California to be exact. And been living in Texas for the last 12 years. Awesome. Yeah, about 12 years. Yeah.
And we were just thinking, like, we met about 10 years ago or so?
About, I want to, like maybe 8 years.
Oh, yeah, 8 years.
Like 8 years, yeah.
Wow, it's crazy. Time
it's
flies.
It's a long time.
I know, right. So I'm just so excited about your album because let me tell you, like, I truly, truly enjoy it. Like I was saying earlier in the message, that it's really an everything kind of album. Like, I've cried to it, I've laughed to it. I listen to it in my car when I'm cleaning, and it just excites me because Christianity doesn't have to be boring. There is. I'm so grateful for artists like you that can put out an album that you can just enjoy and listen to. So that must be so exciting. And like your worship and like Michael's worship, and I'm always intrigued about music because I'm like clueless when it comes to music.
Yeah.
So, but like, tell me, how does it, like, did you know you were always a singer or?
At a very young age, I was introduced to just, of course, music in general. Since a very young age, I was 4 years old. Between 4 and 6 years old, I was, music just caught my attention. It caught my eye. It drew me in. It was just, at that age, I didn't really know what music was going to be for me. The outlet that it is for me now as an adult. I didn't understand that at that time, but at that age, being 4 or 6 years old, I sang at my very first time at my church at 6 years old. It was a Christmas song, and I still remember, everything about that day. I remember what I was wearing. I don't know what my mom was thinking, but it was a Christmas event, and my mom had me wearing these white sweats and like a red sweater and super Christmas out. But I sang a Christmas song, and I never forget the feeling that I felt that day. It was just a wonderful feeling that I can't even describe. But that was the beginning of just birthing what was already deposited inside of me and what God had already placed in my heart. Like I said, I didn't really know at the time what God's plans were going to be. But I did know that music was already something that was like, it was a part of me. I would hear music and it was like, oh my God, yes. And mind you, many people now that have gotten the chance to meet me, interact with me on a personal level, people that know me and know what Mimy is about, they know that I love all types and all kinds of music. Whether that be hip hop, whether that be worship, whether that be Spanish music, whether it be, a little bit of jazz and all kinds.
Wow.
Like I can appreciate all types of different styles of music. And that part of me, even though I play no instrument, fun fact, I don't play an instrument, but I just get very intrigued when I hear music and the instruments and like all of these things, elements that make a song great. Wow. And so this album in particular, Revivir, a lot of the audience that follow me are from my church, and they know me as Mimy, the one that leads us into worship, the one that leads us into the presence of God, and all of that is great. This album particularly is not necessarily your I guess your traditional worship album, but there's definitely times in this album that you find yourself in those moments where you're just like, okay, totally. This is definitely a time for me to just like receive, really. And that was the goal, Lulu, for this album.
So is that so? When you tell me about like, how do you figure out what you want in your album?
Yeah. So, and if you don't know this, I'll let you guys know that this is my very first album. Before that, I had released singles, and so it was very important to me to be able to be honest and sincere in this album. To be able to be open in my writing, and in the story behind it. So whenever we came together with my team to come up with what is it that we're going to be talking about in this album, like I said earlier, I said that this album represents what I experienced in the last 4 years.
Wow.
And so in that moment, when we started to brainstorm, the word blooming started to just come, and it was just blooming. I was pregnant with my daughter, Rachel, and it was symbolic because even though I was pregnant, I heard God and I felt God telling me this is a season of birth. You're giving birth, and of course it was birth also in the natural. I was actually going to give birth to a baby girl, but it was also giving birth to a new project, a new baby, as you will.
Yeah.
That it's it's an album that's talking about my life, you know.
Wow.
And I felt that the Lord was seeking me into that direction of okay, so this old Mimy who had encountered all of these things, because if I'm being honest, in these moments when I was feeling how I was, I felt very unworthy, you know. I felt that I had failed God, not only God, but my family, you know, my husband and my kids. Just all around, I felt like a failure. And even though it didn't seem that way to, you know, everybody's eyes, to others, that's how I was feeling inside. And so this album and the word Revivir, because we were trying to translate it, because I heard it in English and I couldn't think of a word that represented blooming. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't think of a word like to translate blooming. And Revivir was perfect, because it's like I'm rebirthing again. I'm giving life to the Mimy that God has built inside. You know what I mean? Inside of me. Who called you to be? Exactly. So that's how that happened.
So you always had aspirations to write an album? Is that? Or
yes, I always knew. Well, like I said, at a very young age, I didn't really know the plans that God had. But as a teenager and as I grew up into an adult, I started to really understand the plans that God had for me. And I knew already that it was going to be in music, that it was going to be in ministry. And so I knew that even if I didn't necessarily write an album, Lulu, because of course I think many can relate. Whenever you are whenever you sing, or you're a worshiper, or just love music, at some point the thought of, oh my God, I want to do this for the rest of my life. I want to do this as a career comes to mind. Yeah. So of course those have always been thoughts and dreams that I've always desired. Right. You know, but there was a moment where I told myself, okay, if I never really do an album or really nothing in music, am I content with just serving at my church?
Not doing that.
And not doing that. Yeah. And that was a big realization for me, to accept that if music was never a part of me or something that I would pursue as a career, would I be okay with that? Right. But in that moment, although I did surrender to God and I did say to God, I am content serving you and serving my church and my family and my kids. Yes. And I know that God is a God of honor, and I know that God honored that. For sure. Because when that happened, I kid you not, the year after that, we had the opportunity to step in faith without really not having all of the funds, Lulu, because it's you need money to be able to do music, you know, just to record an album, to record a single, you know, let alone 8-9 songs that each song is like close to $1,000. Really? You know what I mean? So God gave us the ability to believe in ourselves enough and to believe in Him. That He is the one that provides. And that's exactly what it was for us. And so I knew that maybe if I didn't do an album right then and there, that it was going to happen eventually. But it was going to be in God's time, not in my time. Right.
And that's the best thing, right? Yeah. When we really surrender it into His hands, I'm a firm believer that God really does grant the desires of our hearts. Yes. And He knows our intentions. He knows what really, because it's sad to say, but there's a lot of people that are in even church leading worship that they're just there to sing, or they're just there to, you know, because they like the attention or whatever, because, you know, it does come with that aspect of it, of people, you know, looking up to you or whatever. So, you could totally be in it for the wrong reasons. But I'm with you. I firmly believe that God really honors our desires. And if we really want something, you know, He's so good. He's our Father. You know, He's so good that He will just, all right, you know, grant the desire for us. Yes. And right now we're just seeing the album. You know, we don't know how hard it is to make an album, or how many times you heard no. Oh my God. Before coming to actually feeling it, or being in the studio where you're actually recording. I mean, I don't know. Was there a time where you just thought like, you know what, this is not going to happen, or
So
how do you overcome like, so, you know, you have this dream, you know, you're called, you've been doing it since you were 5 or 6, and you know, you come to a point that maybe you've just had, because we can hear no one time and be okay with it.
Yeah.
But after so long, you know, and you're just like, I mean, did you ever
Oh my God,
encounter that moment? Or?
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, since I was in high school, I would get friends or even people that I didn't know that would tell me, you know, hey, Mimy, you know, we want you to, you know, make a song with us, or
Right.
we want to do something with you or whatever. And of course, again, going back to the people that know me know that I'm the type of person that I'm like a doer, like, yes, let's go, like, super like aventada. I'm like, let's go, let's make it happen, but not really thinking, okay, is this really beneficial for me?
Right.
And many times, if not all the times, it was like that. It wasn't my time. It wasn't
so good.
it wasn't what God wanted me to do, or the direction that God wanted me to go, because a lot of these invitations to be a part of something were not in the Christian environment. It was in the secular world, and although it sounded nice, and although it sounded promising, you know, it still didn't sit well with my heart, because I didn't know that. I was afraid to even try it. You know, to even try it, because I think deep down inside in my heart, I knew that wasn't truly the direction that God wanted me to go, let alone start music, because I knew that He had a bigger plan.
Awesome.
You know, and I did hear lots of no's, and not necessarily no's, but not necessarily a no from like a no, you know, don't do this, this isn't for you, but more of a no of a not right now and not with this person.
Or it fell apart.
Right, it would have fallen apart.
You're working on something, and then all of a sudden,
and it wouldn't follow
happened,
through, or
It
whatever.
follow through.
Yeah,
and that's so important. I think that can apply to all of us, right? When we have a dream, we have an aspiration to do something, and we have the opportunity to do it. Maybe it's, you know, we're just excited and eager for it.
Yeah.
But at some point that we know and can understand when, who, because all of that is important.
Yes.
I mean, we can go down and then I mean, really heartbroken or whatever the case
very
is,
true.
it doesn't work out.
I'm very thankful for Mondo, my husband, because he, in many occasions, he is my eyes. He is my brain at times. He is my decision maker, because I find myself being so it's hard for me to say no in many occasions, and I've had to learn, you know, I've had to learn how to make these decisions on my own, and truly see them before Mondo's like, no, that's not the
Doesn't sound
right direction to go, or that's not the right one, or whatever. And I've had a lot of the no's have been Mondo telling me, no, this isn't right, this isn't the one, it just doesn't seem like it fits. And even though I was like, I would feel like, oh my gosh, like again, like you feel like that again, like this is like the third person, like what do you mean, like like what is it? And I didn't understand a lot of the times what it was that he was feeling, because I wasn't feeling that. I was like, I'm over here thinking like music, and he was like, no, but they don't understand your heart, your vision, what you want. So I'm very blessed to have Mondo, because
so he's like your voice of reason.
Yeah,
and it's crazy because even me, because we're I don't know about you, but I'm super emotional.
Oh yeah.
So you
listen,
know,
we got some napkins here for Justin.
Or just emotion driven, like you're excited about something, and you're, of course, you just want to say yes, you want to jump in.
Yeah.
But it's good to have someone there, kind of like, wait a minute, you know, you said that this is the direction you wanted to go, and this is not the direction that goes.
Yeah.
So it's always good to have someone. So good. Hey, kudos to good husbands, because
kudos.
Because they definitely keep us in line. You know?
Yes.
Well, that's awesome. So I love this album because there's many partnerships in the album.
Yeah.
So you made there's a couple songs where you're using. So how do you decide who to pull in or who?
So, I do. My team is very open to any ideas that I may have.
Right.
So, in conversation when we were planning on this album and what it was going to be about, we had talked about there being, some collabs. And we didn't know at the time who, because we didn't know what song it was going to be, if it was going to be a guy, if it was going to be a girl. We didn't really know. And God is so amazing that we were able to meet people along the way and interact with people that they just fit. They fit with what we were wanting to do. They were able to say yes. Like one of the collabs that we have is the only English song in the album that is called Nothing Else.
Yes.
And that one is the only song also that is a cover. That's not an original. All the other 7 songs are all originals.
Wow, that's amazing.
And that one, Nothing Else, is a cover with my friend Destiny Marco, who is from New York. And she was nice enough to say yes to working together in the song and making it a great fit. And the other collab that we have on the album is De Ti with my friend Nico, another humble person that jumped on just saying yes. He understood the vision. He understood what we wanted to do, what I wanted to do, and it was just a blessing to be able to work with both of them.
And De Ti is amazing. I love the way it just...
Yeah, De Ti is a very different... Again, like the people that hear it at first, they're like, oh my gosh, like I would have never thought that we're going to sing something like that. But
it's so good.
But yeah.
And I think Nothing Else is just like a nice little touch.
Yeah, it's like one of those songs that if you play it live, it'll definitely take you into like a worship moment.
It's so good. So my favorite song of the album is Paraíso, of
course.
It's so good. I've always
love that
said,
song.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I love that song.
And I've always said, it's so good to be in God's will and to serve God, and I think Paraíso really does encapsulate that. How good it is. So how did Paraíso come alive?
It's funny that I've had several people ask me about Paraíso.
Awesome.
And I've had several friends ask me, oh my gosh, what happened in 2002? Because
on that specific day.
Yes, I know. It's because if you haven't heard it, I encourage you to go listen to it.
Yes, go.
But in the very beginning, it says, ¿Cómo explicar lo que sucedió? It says, en el invierno del 2002. It throws a year in there. And so I've had friends ask me, it's like, oh my gosh, like what happened like in that year? I was like 12, 13 years old. So it was obviously nothing major. But when I was writing this song with my friend Becky, her and I co-wrote this song.
Awesome.
It was when I wrote that first line, ¿Cómo explicar lo que sucedió? I originally had put a different year. And obviously the song it reflects a specific time that I was in, but not necessarily that year.
Okay.
Because again, like I said, in that year I myself was like 13 years old. But the year, like for example, if I would have said 2017, it kind of wouldn't roll the same.
I see.
Because I'm like, ¿Cómo explicar lo que sucedió en el invierno del 2007? Like it doesn't fit,
okay.
So we did change the year to be able to be easier for it to roll,
right?
But the song within itself definitely does have a storyline, because overall, of course, the song is called Paraíso, Paradise. That is what God is to me. That is what God is to many of us.
Awesome.
When we do encounter the goodness of God and the faithfulness of God, and how many times He has to but how many times He has to remind us that He is in the center of everything that we do, no matter what it is that we are encountering, whether it be good, whether it be bad. He is there.
Yes.
And so there is paradise in that.
Right.
Like He is paradise. There is paradise when we arrive in knowing that He has it all under control.
Yes. And I think that the beat, just the whole song.
The whole song
amazing.
is, I love that song.
Yes.
It was awesome. The producer, Jaime, my very good friend, came up with, we gave him some references of the song the style of song that we wanted.
Yes.
And he did amazing. Like he captured every little detail. There's a part in the song, and I don't know if you can recognize it. There's a part in the song that it says, it goes into give me one second, I'm so sorry. It goes into the instrumental part Well,
Yeah.
at the very end, where it goes, I don't know if you hear it, but it goes, mi futuro sin ti no cuenta nada. Oh, but it's like not as a,
Right.
it's not a part of the actual like song. It's
Okay.
like it gives like a little acoustic feel, like
Yeah,
as a,
yeah.
like if I'm in the studio writing to it.
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
if you've
Yeah,
heard
yeah.
that,
Yes.
but that's actually one of my favorite parts of the
Wow.
song because I feel like it was just so out of the box.
Yeah.
Because it's not something that you
Yeah.
would normally hear in a song, you know.
Totally. I mean, it literally feels like you're just on a beach or you're
Yes,
just, you know.
I love it.
And me too. I love that music. So I mean, I'm telling you, I can just, you know, in the car jamming to me.
Yeah.
And so I really.
Thank
so
you,
is that
Lulu.
your favorite song of the album?
That song is one of my favorite songs, Paraíso. There's quite a few actually. There's Llévame is another one, and Me Viste is
Okay.
also another one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I love all of them, but
Of
those are like one of my top favorite ones.
Awesome.
Revivir is obviously that's the title of the album, but they're also very different. They're not all the same. They all have a different, and that was another thing that I wanted to do. I wanted to be able to be open with experimenting sounds and new things and make it fit into, because it's a pop album. It's
Yeah.
not your, like I said, it's not your typical
Right.
worship album. It is very more on the pop side.
Yeah, that's awesome. So today I was definitely getting in my Mimy zone, and so while I was working, I was on YouTube and listening
Yeah.
to, and I came across a song that you did with David Reyes,
Oh yeah,
which was really good.
Mhm.
So I mean, is there someone that you've been excited to kind of sing with?
Yes. So since we're talking about that, David, before he moved, because he used to live here in Dallas, but now he
Right.
doesn't live here in Dallas anymore. He lives in Seattle. It was an amazing opportunity to be able to be with him in this song, because it's one of his songs, one of his original songs, and we just decided to do it as a duet together.
Yeah.
And he's just an overall great person. His family, they're all so wonderful. Most recently, though, we are in the works of releasing a new song
Ooh.
at the end of this month.
Awesome.
So stay tuned for that.
Yes.
And it's going to be a new collaboration with a friend, Eunice Rodriguez.
okay, yes.
And it's going to be a
Wow.
Spanish song, and it's also going to be an original song
Awesome.
that her and I wrote together. So it is an exciting moment, because I know that that's something that always excites me, to be able to work with others that are also doing the same thing that you're doing, for the same person, which is God, and giving God all the glory and all the honor. And so it really is exciting to be able to work together. Of course, I've worked with others as well in the process, in the journey of just Mimy and what Mimy is about and what she's doing. And I'm very excited for next year, because we already have some exciting things that we want to do, and I'm very excited to share that with you guys. Not tonight, but soon.
Okay. Well, we'll definitely be
Yeah.
waiting for that good news, and that's
Yeah.
so exciting. I mean, I'm just like, when I know you kind of had been working on something,
Mhm.
but when we finally saw it, because it's such a good thing, and I'm so excited to see what the Lord has placed into you. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's like 12 songs or something? Is it?
The album has 8 songs.
8 songs, but I mean, it's a complete album.
Yes.
What a blessing! I mean,
Yes. Thank you, Lulu.
I mean, I'm excited. I'm like,
Yes.
everybody has to listen to it, because it's just so good. And,
Yes.
So I'm excited for what the Lord is doing,
Thank you, Lulu.
and for the doors that He's opening.
Amen.
I know that you've traveled a little bit also.
I have a little bit, yeah. We had some things planned for this year, but we had to obviously make some changes because of
Right.
COVID, and we had to rearrange a lot of those things and postpone and leave some for next year. So next year is also a year to look forward to.
Yes.
God has been good. Even though we've been in a pandemic, we haven't traveled, but
Yeah.
He's been good in other areas. So
Yeah, for sure.
we're very happy about that.
So have you had the opportunity to like be in the car and then your song comes on? Like
Oh
the
yeah.
radio?
So a lot of the songs that are on the album have been playing not only
Yeah.
here local in Dallas, but like in California, in Oklahoma, in New York, in Florida, but also even outside of the country. Like they've played in Puerto Rico, like in Colombia, Venezuela, like other places outside of the U.S. And so that, like Argentina. I've had interviews like on the radio with these radio stations that are out, that are not necessarily in the Dallas Fort Worth area. So that is very exciting that my song is not only playing, for example, like Paraíso, or De Ti is not only playing in the U.S. The very last cover that we did, the very last one, which was Más que Nunca, that it was a collaboration with my friend Clepson. He is Portuguese.
Right,
and it was a what is it called, bilingual song, Spanish and Portuguese. That song was playing in Brazil, and in different areas in the Brazil area as well, which is another country. So that is also amazing. That was my very first time, by the way, ever singing in another language that is not Spanish or English.
So did you?
Did
you have to learn all those, or did you know what you were? How does that work?
Well, Clepson, my friend, like I said, he's Portuguese, so he speaks fluently, writes fluently, reads fluently. So he translated the song for me.
Okay.
And when he translated it, of course, I was reading, and I'm like, if I read it, I'm just gonna say it how I think it goes.
Right.
But he corrected me in a lot of the things on how you say them and things like that. So I had to learn that.
Right. Well, Portuguese is really...
It's very similar.
But
it's very
still
similar.
Things,
but there's things like, for example, this is just a perfect example because I could just think of it right now. I don't know if you guys know who Gabriela Rocha is. She is a Brazilian worshiper.
Okay.
She's Portuguese, but it's actually a Mexican self like me would say Gabriela Rocha, right? So when I said that to Clepson, he was like, it's actually Gabriela Rocha. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I would have never said it that way.
I would have never said it that way, but...
So, Gabriela?
Rocha.
Rocha. Wow, okay.
Rocha. So, like, I guess the R, you don't say the R.
Right.
Which is very interesting.
Yeah.
And it was also very cool. So I learned that. That was we didn't have enough time to learn that. I didn't actually, to learn that song in Portuguese. It was fast when we recorded that.
Yeah.
And he knows Spanish, speaks Spanish, but he's not completely fluent in Spanish.
Okay.
So there was some things that I also had to help him a little bit with the pronunciation.
Yeah.
But it overall was a great song,
Yeah.
and that was a very exciting collaboration that I did
awesome.
most recently that I did with him.
That's so interesting because Michael's obviously into music, so he definitely, so he has several Portuguese artists that he listens to.
Oh yeah.
And so in the car he'll put it on, and I'm just like, huh?
Like Dias?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, oh gosh, 'cause I don't know anything, but he's like, "Well, the music is so good."
Yeah, his music is really good. He incorporates all the instruments.
Yeah. So Michael gets all excited about that.
Yeah.
So but how exciting to know that that just gives your audience kind of expands a little bit more. And that's exactly what God does, right?
Yeah.
We have our minds centered into our little, what we can see. But God, when it's His time, it's that and everything else.
Yes.
So that is amazing to see, and I mean, that's so cool.
Yes.
So so you're gonna be making some new stuff that's coming along.
Some new music.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you're in the works or?
So we are definitely going to be finishing this year 2020 strong. We do have this new song, this new single coming out in October, and we're also getting near the holidays, so y'all can kind of imagine what we have working on.
That is awesome.
So stay tuned for that too, because that's also going to be at the end of the year.
Oh wow!
And very excited for that, and excited for 2021. Really, very excited for that.
So I know Mondo plays too. So is he involved in your?
So Mondo, although me and him we work together obviously, and we are a team at church because we both lead together. He doesn't play in the album because we have Jaime the producer. He's a piano player, so he's the one that does the production. but of course Mondo is more on the, okay, let's more of on the manager side with Becky, and more on the okay, so making sure that everything is kind of going according to the plan or whatever. Right. Mondo's my right hand when it comes down to everything else outside of music, but he's not necessarily playing an instrument.
And you know what, I love that, because it's like your space. Your space to kind of, and although he could totally
he could totally do it.
But I love that he allows you to kind of navigate that area and do your thing.
But I know that Mondo is also a person of many traits. So even though he's not necessarily playing the piano for any of these songs, he is doing everything else, in the background. Like, for example, he's, this may seem like what, but there's a lot of things that are unnoticed and people don't see. But the times that I've had to go to the studio to record, we had to make it work with him and I, with the kids, because we had a newborn baby when the album was being recorded. I was pregnant, actually, still pregnant, and that was last year, and then Rachel was born, and we had a goal to finish the album. And Rachel was weeks, days old. And Mondo was, super dad, and he was with the kids. So there's a lot of the things that people don't see. But if I didn't have, him as my backbone, him as my support system, it'd be very difficult to even do anything that I'm doing.
Because you have to be in there in peace and comfort, knowing that you can spend however long you need to be doing, and that baby
not worrying about like, oh my god, are my kids okay, who are they with, like how much time do I even have to be in the studio because I have to go pick them up or whatever, so I was at peace in knowing that, okay, my babies are at home, they're warm, they're fed, they're with their dad, so we're good.
And you know what, I'm sure the time will come where you guys will do a collab or
Mondo's always like, he jokes, and he always says, like, he's joking. He's like, I know it's because Mimy, I'm not too good for her or whatever. And he jokes about that, but I'm like, babe, oh my gosh, like, we lead together at church and stuff. But then it's like, whenever we tell him to do, he's like, oh no, you have somebody else over there that's better. And I'm like, wow, okay. But no, we definitely, like, especially like whenever we get the opportunity to be able to, minister at other churches and stuff, he'd be more than willing to play, because he knows the songs, and we flow, we flow very well together. So like I said, he's a man of many traits, so he can do a lot of things.
That's wonderful. And that's good. If you ever need, you always know that he's there, and he's willing, for sure. And what more than to have someone there that cheers you on, that supports you, that whatever you need is there. That's amazing, because not everyone has that.
Nope. That's true. Not everyone does.
Too.
Yeah.
So anybody else awesome that help you? And you mentioned Becky a lot.
Yes, Becky. So Becky, she is she's my best friend, but she's also like my sister. She's like the older sister that I never had, that I always wanted. I always told my mom, I was like, Mom, why didn't you have another kid? And she's like, I know, it's okay. But she's like the older sister that I always dreamed of having. She has my back, even just like Mondo. They're very protective of me, because like I said, I'm more on the emotional side, more on the very heartfelt, like, man, that's pobrecitos, or let's do it, or I'm the person that wears their heart on their sleeve.
Oh my gosh,
I'm the person that's gonna I care about what others may think. I care about what others may say. And I'm the one person, okay, well, what can we do to make it better? And they're more of both her and Mondo are very alike in the sense of don't care about that too much. And I'm like, boo, how? I cannot not be that way.
And we need that.
Yeah.
We need that.
So Becky, and you're very true. Yeah. We do need that. And Becky has had the privilege to been doing this for a very long time, and by this I mean her working with other artists as well.
Oh, all right.
Her managing, though, I'm her first artist that she gets to manage. Okay. She we joke about it, but she says that I'm her guinea pig. So she tries everything on me, and if it doesn't work, well, then she doesn't do it on anybody else. And if it works, then great. Yeah. But she's helped me a lot with just teaming up and finding the right people to work with.
That's great.
Even the collaborations, like she's been one of the ones that has contacted me with some of them, and even the ones in the future as well. Like,
oh, wow.
She's very well at just speaking to these people and doing that hard part for me, because to me it's harder to be like, it's like,
great.
I would probably be like, Lulu, how do you feel about doing a song together? Like, I don't even know how I would do it. And so she's just very like professional with her words, and
so she makes that connection.
Yeah, she makes the
That's so
connections,
good.
and so I'm very blessed to have her and to work together. We all love her very
Wow,
much.
that's so good. I mean, we all definitely need someone to bridge that gap for us.
Yes, for sure. Because sometimes it's hard for me. It still is. After so many years, I've learned so much. I've learned a lot, but I still sometimes find myself being, just it's kind of hard for me to kind of just I don't know, just be more not as not that caring is a bad thing,
right?
Because it's not a bad thing to care,
right?
But just maybe not caring too much about what others may think.
There has to be a balance,
right? There's got to be a balance.
That balance is always
finding the balance for sure of when to do it, when not, when to say something, when to not, things like that.
So I know we've talked about all these amazing things, but what is something that's kept you like grounded, to persevere, to just to what is that one thing that's helped you do that?
Well, most recently, and I've talked about this in another life that I did. With this whole pandemic, this whole being locked in and stuff like that, which by the way I really haven't been, because
I've been in Texas, so.
Right, that, and my job is considered an essential, and I'm very thankful for that. Very thankful for the fact that I'm still working and stuff. But with that being said, I did find, myself very like overwhelmed and like very heavy and burdened, and I just didn't really know why I was feeling that way, because deep down I felt like, quote unquote, I did feel like I was fine, not necessarily something specific going on with me, but I still felt like very heavy, and I felt like, man, everything that was going on in the world was just taking over, like over my feelings, over my heart, over like, I just I didn't know when to say something, when to not. Should I say, should I not? Like, or am I not doing enough? So one of the things, to answer your question, that has kept me, grounded and has kept me, pushing forward, is really knowing, and being expectant, really, of what God is doing in this moment. Being hopeful and being okay with not being okay. Being okay with everything that has been surrounding us, everything that continues to be put out on even on the internet, on social media, on the news. Not everything is good for us to hear, but even though we hear it, one of the things that my pastor has told us in the congregation is being expectant, being open to what God is doing in this moment. And even though we may not know the answer, we don't know the outcome, there is still something good that is going on in this time, and something that God is working through this moment. And that is something that I'm hopeful, and that keeps me hopeful, that keeps me at peace, that keeps me pushing forward. Not only the fact that I have the job, but that my kids are safe, that my kids are healthy, that my husband is safe, that I'm safe, that my family is safe. And it really is a matter of one's will. It really is one of those decisions that you have to make for yourself when you wake up in the morning. And you have to tell yourself, all right, today, this is how it's going to go. And you are the one that decides that. That has been my go-to for the last months, where it's just like, I'm not going to get overwhelmed. I'm not going to get, in my feelings, to where it's just like, no hago nada. Like, I do absolutely nothing.
Because we can get there.
Right, we can. And although,
especially
it's
with
allowed,
everything going around,
Yeah, and although there is going to be moments where we feel that way, it's okay. But get up, get right back on it, continue moving forward, keep walking that path, God, is guiding our steps. So we are allowed to feel a certain way about whatever it is that we're encountering, but don't stay there. And that's what's been speaking to us in this moment, that yes, you can feel this way. Yes, you are allowed to feel this way, but don't stay there. Do not allow yourself to stay stagnant and to be content in that, because that's not it. That's not everything. This is just temporary. What happens when all of this is over?
Right.
What happens? Am I going to continue, being this sad, depressed, and oh my gosh, I'm not doing anything in life person? No.
Yeah.
You have to get up and continue moving, continue doing what you're already doing, even if you feel like it's not being noticed.
Yeah.
Even if you feel like what you're doing, nobody is really saying thank you. Nobody is acknowledging all of your hard work. But you know what? Keep doing it.
That's right.
Keep doing it. I encourage you to keep doing it.
That's awesome. And that's what the Word of God tells us, right?
Yes.
Not to get tired of doing good or doing this, what we're doing, because I truly, it's a spiritual, if you're a believer, it is a spiritual battle.
Yeah.
Right? So everything that's going on, it's all spiritual. There's something behind it. And we cannot just let ourselves be taken by what we're seeing.
Yeah.
Because God is doing something. We don't know it. We don't perceive it. We may perceive it, but we don't know exactly but He is behind it. He is aware, and He is sovereign. He knows it all. So that's awesome, just to be able to remind ourselves daily, because we have to.
Yeah.
We have to remind ourselves daily that it's okay. One of my favorite quotes that I would say is like, every day may not be a good day, but there is good in every day.
Yes, I love that.
So it's our job to find the good.
Yes.
I'm not going to lie.
I love that.
Today, as I was getting ready, like, I literally spilled dinner. Like, seriously, like, all my fridge was like super full, so all this stuff came out. So some cochinero, I'm like, Michael comes home,
I would have lost it,
and I'm crying, and
that would have been me.
That would have been me. He's like, "What's going on?" I was like, "It's okay," and he's like, "It's fine," we're, but I just said, you know what, it's okay, I'll just whatever, it's fine. We'll clean whatever, and we're able to clean up, and I could have allowed that moment to just. Whatever. I mean,
ruin the day.
Yeah, ruin. And a
or
lot
your
of
evening.
Times, we allow those moments that sure they have the right, or they can ruin what we have going, but ultimately it is up to us to decide if we're going to give in to those moments, or if we're going to what we're going to do with what's going on. So, man, thank you for sharing that.
Yes,
so,
Lulu.
I mean, we're about to close, and so I just want to say, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Mimy, thank you again for taking this time out to come and chat with us. And if you haven't heard Mimy's album Revivir, it's available on all music platforms: Spotify, iTunes. Or where else is it available?
iTunes. It's on Deezer. It's on Apple Music. You said Apple Music. YouTube. Any platform of music, or wherever you listen to music, it's there.
Yep.
Find it.
So. If you haven't heard Paraíso, definitely listen to it today, or as soon as we end this, go find it. Bless you, go find it and listen to it. And
no coronavirus over here.
And also follow Mimy, because she does have. What is your music page?
So my music page is under Mimy Musica, Mimy Musica, and it's spelled Mimy and Musica, Musica.
Yes, awesome.
That's on Facebook, the fan page, and then we have on Spotify. Well, yeah, on Spotify it's just Mimy, and on Instagram it's Mimy Music.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. So I'm excited for what's to come. I'm excited for Christmas.
Yes, Christmas.
Yes, I know you're gonna put out some good stuff. There's nothing like some good Christmas music. So.
Yeah, this is it's like. I think when you guys hear it, you guys are going to be like, oh, wow, we don't hear this Christmas song too often.
Awesome.
Oh, my God. But yeah. I'm excited for that, for sure.
So definitely we'll keep an eye out for whatever projects are coming up. Mm-hmm. And so, So
thank you guys for tuning in. I love you guys. Be blessed, and let's keep going.
Yes. I will see you guys. Tony,
I don't know if this was a goodbye. I was just saying bye to you guys.
Yeah. So you can, if you please share this live, but you can also get the podcast that we're now also on Spotify, iTunes, wherever. So definitely, join in, share this with someone else. We all have dreams and aspirations, and we're all working because I believe that the Lord has deposited something in all of us.
Yes.
So Mimy is definitely music, and maybe for someone else it's music too, or it's just something else. Writing, yeah, something else. But know that if God has placed it in you, I mean, He's definitely gonna be good to His word, and will help you carry that out, just like He did with Mimy.
Amen.
So I want to encourage you guys all to keep pursuing your dreams and keep pursuing whatever the Lord has placed in you.
Absolutely.
And I know it will come to fruition. And so again, thank you, Mimy.
Thank you
everyone
guys
for joining us. We'll see you guys. You guys
Bye.
follow Mimy. If you guys have any questions or anything you guys want to ask her, definitely hit her up on her page or on her pages. And we'll see you guys later.
Bye. Good night.
Bye. Michael has made us self-sufficient there.